Welcome back, everyone, to Halloween Haunts 365. I'm Jared.
And I'm Terry.
We're recording again. We've been doing a lot of video. And I got Frankenstein growing back here. You see this thing? I don't even want to pull my back out to get it.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Yeah. Things I do to make your life easier. All right. So, we got another stop on the terror tours. So, before we get to that, let's get to the commercial. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the 2025 haunt season. This tour, we have 5 haunts, 3 days, at one low price that you will not find anywhere. We will be visiting Castle Blood, Portals of Fear, On the Hills Estate Street Park, Fright Farm, and Crawford School of Terror. Make sure you get your tickets now at terrortours.rip. You will not be sorry. Let's go have some fun. I tell you how much I hate StreamYard.
I know.
Just put me back full size. But it's a means and it's easier, so we're doing it. All right, guys. As you can tell from the thumbnail, we got another stop on the Terror Tour interview. I'm going to bring in Mr. Ricky Dick, also known as Gravely Macabre, owner of Castle Blood. How are you tonight?
I am in an air-conditioned room, so I am okay.
That is the coolest lamp.
It is a little rough out here in Pittsburgh.
we're feeling your pain down here. She said it broke, so we'll see. Her cool and my cool are 3 different things.
It's a lot cooler, like 20 degrees.
Oh, yeah? All right. So first, I really love your lamp behind you. That's amazing.
That is.
Thank you. You know what that is? That's a lamp from off the sidewalk, and that pumpkin part is from Party City, rest in peace. It's actually a cover for a fog machine. But the Party City by us didn't know what they were and didn't know how to set them up, and they just sat in the corner. And on November 8th or so, I got them for like $5.
Perfect. Can't beat that.
Wow.
That's how we build everything around here. And being the small little haunt that could, that's just kind of how it works.
With a long, lengthy history. So, I want to get right into Castle Blood to start. What's it all about? Is there multi-attractions? What are we expecting? Because I'm getting very excited about these terror tours.
Well, we only have one location. It's only one haunt, but it still is an hour-long tour.
What?
Yep. We are one of the best values, especially for the money. I think Scare Factor actually does the cost per minute as one of their things. And we always come out top, I don't know, maybe nationally, So yeah, it's an hour-long tour. It's an escape room before there was escape rooms. It's haunted immersive theater before there were haunted immersive theaters. It's a costume, wonderful pageant because of all the people that started the castle with me. And it's just a fun show.
Awesome.
Wow.
Now I'm really excited.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah,
there's
people that have said, if you like, because let's be honest, millions of people go to haunted houses every year, right? That means there's 300 million that don't.
Right.
But most of them like Halloween. So if you love Halloween, but you're still a little skittish because of what you think haunted houses are like, we can be your starter haunt. And once we get you, we're never going to let go. Mm-hmm. You still go to all the other haunts. Heck, we go to all the other haunts. but we're just so different. Everybody wants to come see us every year.
That's awesome. Very cool.
I can't wait.
He answered the second question, so I'll move on.
I was going to say, keep asking, because if you want to keep talking, I'll just keep talking.
Listen, I am here to hear people talk. That's why I started this. I like I told you on Messenger, I love the story of how it started and how they build it every year. Attendance is fun, going through is fun, but I like the build up. That's my favorite part of haunted attractions. So the vibe's a little different in Castle Blood. So how would you describe it as someone who's only been to these jump scare haunts?
The hardest thing is to try and describe us without saying what we're not, because you don't want to put those images in people's heads. You know what I mean? Leonard Pickle, a long time ago, called us going to the castle was like playing Clue in the Addams Family house. So that's a pretty good idea. Every night you're set on a quest. Every show, we'd write a different show for each year, a different show for all 4 of our annual shows. So I guess we've written at least 60 shows now, if you count them all. And if you're really down the rabbit hole, you'll actually find things that travel through all 60 shows. So you're sent on a quest, and every quest is unique. So if you've never been here before, it doesn't matter. You're sent on a quest. Things are explained to you. You're looking for 3 talisman of the castle that go along with the story of that particular show. Sometimes you'll get them easily. Sometimes you won't. Some of the characters at the castle want to help you. Some of the characters don't like that Gravely is letting these mortals in the castle, so they're not going to be as helpful. There's still the guy behind the portrait. There's still animations. There's still all the air cannons. There's all that stuff, especially for the Halloween shows. But it really is an environment where you spend 3, 4, 5 minutes with a character in a scene doing something.
Nice.
It's an hour long.
I know.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
It's kind of like, if you go to an escape room, it takes an hour and you're in 1, 2, maybe 3 rooms.
Yeah.
Right. But with us, you're in, there's 13 sets, but there's obviously hallways and everything else in between. So you're in each one for 5 minutes to do the hour,
I love this idea.
Wow.
I cannot. So how did Castle Blood get started?
We were never supposed to do this. We were never supposed to be here. It got started because a group of friends of mine did a big fancy schmancy masquerade costume presentation at Balticon, which is an East Coast huge literary and bookish and whatever convention where costumers would go for the competition before cosplay was a thing. So now it's cosplay, and that's all cool. We love it. We support it, and we're active in that community too. But we did that. We won Best in Show. It was kind of like the regionals. And then we went to Costume Con out in Los Angeles, which was kind of the nationals. And we won Best in Show again there. And we're like, well, we got these vampire costumes. This is pretty cool. I think we should be answering the door at Home for Trick or Treat with this. Not, the year before we had done pirates. Originally, the year after this, we were going to do Klingons, to be honest. But the vampires and the Castle Blood idea and everything just took hold in our tiny, tiny little town we were in at the time. That's like, yeah, this is a good deal. We need to just stick with this. So we kind of did that for a couple of years. The vampire costumes were they were showpiece costumes, not stuff to wear and perform in, to be honest. So we came up with kind of Addams Family-ish costumes. That's why I came up with Gravely. And so we could add, again, because we weren't these hard-ass vampires, we could be a little comedy, a little magic. We had not only costumer friends, but we had magicians, Ringling Brothers clowns, to be honest, some other variety artists. So when they wanted to just come, we kind of turned it into a party at my house for trick-or-treating. And within just a couple of years, we had to do the trick-or-treating thing more than one night a year because it was just getting too much. I mean, the town we lived in at the time only had 500 people, and we were getting more than 500 people showing up. So yeah, there's the original vampires. My ex-wife, so we'll just put the hand over that part of the screen.
All right, here we go.
the other 4 are still friends. They don't perform with us anymore. The redhead in the back row is a performer up at Haunted Overload now because she lives up there. So she helps them with costumes and sets because, she was one of my originals. And to be honest, that's why some of their stuff is really good because of Carol. So, so that's how we kind of started. When you have a magician handing out candy, he's not just going to hand out candy. He's not going to let you reach in the bowl. He's going to do the humana, humana, boom, here's your candy kind of thing. And that kind of caught everybody's attention because, if we're vampires, or if here's a good word for you, preternatural beings that have powers, well, it's kind of like, well, either have powers or don't. One of the things about it, running into Jason at a normal haunted house is if he doesn't kill you, he's not Jason. But with us, we know how to do stuff. So you're like, oh yeah, how the hell did they do that? How'd they know that about me? How did they, all that kind of stuff. One of our little back of the head things we love is is we know that when people are driving home after being with us, they're going to go, "What the hell was that? Why did that happen?" You know, that kind of stuff. So, and I'm very, very lucky to have a couple of magicians. I mean, I was a performing magician and clown for years too, but I have other people that are way better than me as advisors on this stuff to find these things.
It's so cool.
Is it October yet? Like, what is taking so long?
Right.
Oh my God. All right. So you've been doing this for over 30 years. How long officially?
This will be our 33rd Halloween. We did 2 years in our original location just as Not Castle Blood. And when I lived in Maryland 2 years before that, me and my ex did just quickie little trick-or-treat things, decorated and whatever. Living in a cul-de-sac kind of condo place. It's not a lot of decorations, but we did enough to piss off the neighbors, so that's really all that counts.
Yes.
I
Go ahead.
I owned a costume shop and a makeup studio since 1983. So overall, Halloween has been every day for me since 1983.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
It's a lifestyle choice. Let me tell you, there's a lot of things I miss out on in life or can't afford to do, or can't afford to go, or whatever because of what we do. But we love it. I have a great crew, and we just keep doing it. People say, "Why do you keep doing it after all these years?" Because I'm too stupid to quit.
I give my kids big hugs about September 10th. I'm like, I'll see you about Christmas, buddy.
Yeah.
I love you.
This year it starts earlier.
Yeah, this year I'll be giving them that hug in August. Oh man, they're more than welcome to join us. They refuse, so.
Well, I'm very lucky there. Both sides, my wife's family and my family, both sides come and perform a lot.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
So
good.
it's great. There was one time 2 years ago, every single blood relative that I know of on the planet was actually here at the same time performing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Yeah. So what keeps you passionate about it season after season?
The people and the people that I work with, to be honest. I mean, I've loved the monster movies since the 60s. I'm just old enough to hit the tail end of the 60s monster craze. So that was a big thing for me, and it's just always been interested. And at a really young age, I started learning how to sew when I was in Cub Scouts. My mom said, if you're going to earn all these badges, if you're going to want to do all these Indian crafts, you have to learn how to sew. You have to learn how to do this. So I really started sewing and making my own stuff when I was 10 or 11, 12. So I would, make my own costumes for Halloween, make my own stuff for my friends, things like that. So it was always, if cosplay is costume and play, well, I've been doing it since I was a kid, right?
You were doing it before any of these kids knew what they wanted to do. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the early 90s haunts were black cloaks and white faces. So when you sent me that picture, I was like, wow, that is completely different.
Yeah, and I was spoiled because the first haunt I ever went to was the Disney Mansion. And then the second haunt I ever went to 2 years, that was in 77. In 79, the Boardwalk Haunt, the Long Branch Haunted Mansion in New Jersey opened. And that one was full of people, performers and makeup artists that all ended up working for me at the costume and makeup shop. And it was old school, definitely old school, but the way they approached everything was very theatrical, and the makeup was perfect and the costumes were really cool. So to be honest, I never knew any other way. I didn't go to what we now think of as commercial haunts until the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he already walked us through what a typical guest. This thing's repeating itself, or I'm repeating myself. So why do you choose to lean into storytelling and character interaction over more traditional haunt scares?
Well, on one hand, it was because when we first started, I live in the land of Tom Savini, right? His makeup school is 4 blocks away from the castle. Right. So, and George Romero still had, he would lend his name to haunts in the city and stuff like that. So it's Pittsburgh. It's the zombie capital of the world. So you know what kind of haunts to expect in the zombie capital of the world. Well, there's already 15. What's number 16 going to do? And because most of our core cast were performers, variety arts performers, right? Is like, and we were used to doing kid shows. We were used to doing adult magic. Whatever. It was just natural for us to see if we could blend our love of the old Universal and Hammer movies into what we were good at. It's like, let's not reinvent the wheel here. Let's figure out what we're actually good at, and if we can impress them with the characters, we'll learn how to build the sets. We'll figure that out. So that's kind of the deal, to lean into the storytelling part of it as well. We were storytellers professionally.
And the Instagram is a lot of fun to watch too. How you went through certain scenes. I checked out a couple of those videos.
Yeah, on TikTok and on Instagram. I'm starting to do some of the how we build stuff things. Starting to do some detailed videos of some of the rooms, stuff like that. People seem to really be taken to that pretty nicely. There's too much. The rooms are oversaturated. You can't possibly see everything that's in there when you're coming through, because you also have to pay attention to the tour and what's going on.
Yeah, it's part of the experience. Yeah, there's haunts I've been into 70 times and I still can't tell you what's on the table in the corner.
Right. Well, like one thing for the Terror Tour, I was talking to Troy the other day. During the day, everybody's kind of freewheeling a little bit with what they can do. Well, we do on Sundays, we do our lights on kids show matinee. And you're allowed to take pictures inside and everything. So if anybody, even that was on the Terror Tours, wants to actually see everything, come back Sunday afternoon, and it's only half price even too. So it's like, you just come back Sunday afternoon, bring your camera, have a good time, see everything in the light. So because we can hold up to one little thing I learned, if you're going to make them stand still in a room for 4 minutes, every square inch has to be decorated properly, because there's going to be 2 people out of every group of 8 that are just sitting there with their hands in their pocket looking around, whether they're interested or not in what's going on in front of them. And if they have that much time to look around, they're going to find every flaw they can find.
I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be me the night of the haunt. I'm just gonna be like, that's really, what's this guy saying?
That's why the cast is already starting going room to room, fixing every little thing that we haven't gotten to in years. We know the Terror Tours are going to be like that.
Yeah, there's some people that know their stuff on this tour, and we're all in love with the scene design. That's what I love.
Right.
I had been watching you scream.
Yeah, because I'm a big baby.
She is a big baby. All right, so what else we got here? We did that one. All right, quick break from the haunts. So it's raining out. You're done working on the haunt for the day. You're sitting at home, about to make some popcorn. What movie are you putting on?
It depends on how tired I am. So I guess it would probably be like the old standards that you can fall asleep to if you're watching. So it's going to be black and white Universal stuff. It's going to be stuff that we used to watch when we first started in the 90s. So it's going to be Big Trouble in Little China. It's going to be Army of Darkness. It's going to be, the things that are like soothing, to normal people, that doesn't make sense. But to all of us watching this, I'm sure it does make sense. Those movies are soothing. Yep. Watching the original Halloween, and it's soothing. You hear the music and you just kind of relax, and it's okay, I'm good. I'm good for an hour and a half here. That's fine. I'll just sit here.
Yeah, we try to watch it every Halloween, but now Halloween's on a Friday this year, and we have a new grandkid. So it's basically going to be, all right, let's get him out trick-or-treating. You think your picture's good. We got to get to a haunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So the haunt has its own mythology and recurring characters. How do you go about building on that world year after year?
Yeah, it's a little tough. It's more tough for the new folks that come in, because I have 7 or 8 people that have been here over 20 years. So they kind of know a lot of the backstory and stuff like that. So when new people come in, they have great ideas, but it may go against canon that we've already established and stuff, So they kind of need to have a thick skin about no and why and, whatever. Yeah, we do kind of have an overall mythology of the different kind of characters. I'm sure some people watching this are Dungeons and Dragons players, which I'm not, but my wife is hardcore. We need to actually write the monster guide to the castle that would, even if it's just for in-house training. So it explains, the different kind of vampires, the different kind of magical women. Like we have sorceresses, we have we have which is like my wife's character that you'll see when you guys come, is hardcore rustic and appliances and all of that stuff, and then we have the sorceresses. They're in between. They're pretty, but they're kind of evil or whatever. Then we have the gypsies who have stuff, but they're not magical creatures, So all these different layers of all the different characters we know and have little notes on. But yeah, we kind of do need to codify them a little bit because it gets confusing.
Yeah, you need a show Bible.
Yeah.
Like every TV show that goes past like 2 years collects everything to keep it cinematic for the next 10.
Yeah.
I just learned about that the other day.
Yeah. On our 20th anniversary, my daughter made me a scrapbook that had pictures from each year, what the talisman were from each year, and a couple of highlight notes and stuff like that from each year. So for the first 20 years, I'm pretty good. I have a little research book. I can go check what we've done.
So when do you start building?
Always.
Yeah,
because it is our building. We don't rent a place or have to tear down or anything. We're building all the time, especially with the 3 other non-Halloween shows. We're always building. It's a 125-year-old funeral home. It needs constant repair. We got it off the county repository. If it was sitting there, I'm convinced it was sat there for another 2-3 years. It was either going to fall down or they were going to tear it down. So we're always building stuff, fixing floors, fixing the roof, and of course, every time we fix stuff, it has to be up to current code, not 1905 code, Code? What code? So every time something needs to be repaired, it's a way bigger job than just fixing a little something around the house, So we're building on that.
House.
We're building on that all the time, and then we're always building because we need different props and different things to tell each of the story for each show. So we're always building that too.
that's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's. Any of the funeral home stuff still left in there or no?
No, it got. There was a little. Nothing really valuable. Nothing really crazy. Did I mention we're only 4 blocks away from the Savini School?
Yeah,
it actually laid empty for 6 years before I got it.
Oh wow!
So you can imagine the urban exploring. We're going to call that urban exploring instead of criminal trespass. That might have happened with some of those like-minded folks of ours that were there while I wasn't there yet.
And probably the man himself too. I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't put a lot past him. So yeah, we found some stuff. There's an attic in the garage that nobody I think knew about. They just thought it was airspace, and we found stuff up there.
Oh, that's cool.
So we found a wicker coffin. Those are rare and hard to find.
Ooh.
Yeah, you guys know the whole history with those, right? With like why wicker coffins, why they're called, or why somebody is called a basket case.
No, hit me.
Oh, well, in the Civil War, metal was so scarce, just like the Second World War, just like whatever. That's when they started making wicker coffins. And you get hit with a cannonball in the Civil War, you're in pieces. So they would pick up the pieces, and you are now a basket case.
Oh.
So there's a little instruction from Spooky Grandpa Gravely here. Yeah. So we found one of those. We found a lunchbox coffin, which is a stainless steel round, and it only has handles on each end. So I thought originally it was for like putting in a vault, like we had it. But I was told by our local grave digger, no, those are actually suitable for regular burials as well. We found some things where into the 30s and 40s, 50s around here, you could still be laid out at home. So we found little fancy suitcases. We didn't know what they were. We opened them up, and they were all the things you would decorate the living room with for people. So there were really fancy crucifixes. There were really fancy lights. You put a candle in, but they were red glass. You'll see some of them in the castle. We did not keep the crucifixes. There's collectors that wanted them, and as crazy as we are, we don't really push the sacrilegious part too much. Trying to be the nice, everybody likes us in town because we're bordered by 2 giant churches on either side of us.
Yeah.
So we play nice when it comes to that.
Right.
So we did find some things, just not enough to pay for a new roof.
Why would we? You know, yeah. So,
Are there any fan favorite characters that keep coming back year after year?
Yeah, my wife's character Hexabart, the witch with all the appliances, she's a fan favorite. And we spend a lot of time working on her area just because it's the last big set of the haunt. So it's a very memorable showstopper towards the end. Boris, his character is a Ukrainian, Russian, whatever. We've had him in the story. He would have been around since the 12 or 1300s. So like before Russia or Ukraine, or Russia and Ukraine. But he's a big, giant, bombastic guy, and you know he works some of the front of house stuff. He could be rude. He's just really not rude. He's just a big happy dope. So people love him and always get their pictures taken with him. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, to be honest, over 33 years, we've had 400 different actors in and out of here.
Wow.
Everybody loves Dr. Belfry. He's our Ringling clown graduate that we were talking about. And Dr. Belfry is my nephew in the story. But he's also done a bunch of other characters as well. Right now, he works up at Fantasy Island in Buffalo. He's Black Bart. He gets shot 3 times a day and falls off roofs. Everybody's got to pay the bills.
Yeah. There's many different ways to earn $1 in America.
Yep. So yeah, we do have enough, even though we have a lot of turnover because we get high school kids and college kids, and they're with us for a few years and then move on in life, or older folks move on to the other life, because we've been around a long time, so we deal with that too now. But there are still, like I said, there's still 8 or 9 people that have been with me most of their adult lives.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Do you still act?
I don't anymore because it takes a lot out of me, and I'm in the gift shop. They want me to all to be Santa Claus or Mickey Mouse and just meet everybody in the gift shop at the end lately. A couple of health things a couple of years ago kind of slowed me down a little bit. So still having to run everything and do everything, although I have a great set of managers. Once the show opens, they just want me to chill. So now I chill. I'm in the gift shop. Come get your picture taken with me. It's all fun. We're all good. Yeah. I mean, my character still has my office in the set, but I'm never in it. One of the other butlers is in it. One of my household, because I'm the caretaker. So one of my household staff runs that room for me.
That's awesome. So where do you come up with new ideas for the new season or next storyline? What inspires you to like, you know what? That's a good idea.
Sometimes life, sometimes a hint from a movie or whatever. It's like, I wonder why that's like that. Can we explore that? Kind of like, like the classic Star Trek or even Next Generation. They would put little messages in a science fiction way, so you can get away with telling a story that kind of has a little heart to it, shall we say? So there's times like that we have an emotion or a feeling about ourselves or the world or whatever. And it's real easy to disguise it in these kind of things because we don't want to be offensive to anybody who may have a different opinion. But when you do a show called Alliance and it's all about finding your tribe and taking care of other people and stuff like that, it doesn't matter what kind of person you are. Everybody's got family. Everybody's got friend. So we try to keep it like that. But we get our inspiration from the shows everywhere. The weird one right now is for 2025, all 4 shows are linked. Again, you won't miss anything by only coming to one. But we're doing a story about a family of witches throughout the thing. So we're doing kind of the maiden mother crone thing. So for St. Patrick's Day, we introduced all 3 of them, and then the other 3 shows are going to be focusing on each one. So,
right up my alley.
Hour-long theatrical and witches.
I know.
she's not going home with you. She's staying with us.
Yeah, she probably is. She'll be when your wife's ready to retire. She'll step on in. It's cold in Pittsburgh, though.
I don't care. There's witches.
So you've got a much harder job of recruiting and training than other haunts. How's that process look for such a performance-driven haunt?
It's tough. It's tough. To be honest, we have problem. We don't want to go poach other actors from other haunts. And some of the skills they have at other haunts may not transcribe right to us, so still trying to find in Pennsylvania, it's weird getting under 18-year-olds anymore. They changed all the laws on how that works. So now it's, college theater groups or other theater groups, or we have a wonderful Ren Fair that's only like 10 minutes away from us. Those folks are come kind of pre-trained. And to be honest, I'd say over the years, half of the cast, so like at least 200 of that 400, came through as customers and didn't understand that this kind of haunt could exist and wanted to be a part of it. And again, some stay forever, some stay for, 2 weeks and it's just too much. That's fine too. Everybody to their own skill level, no problem there. But yeah, we do have a hard time. All haunts these days have a hard time. You could be paying $100 an hour and you'd still have a hard time getting as many people as you want, I think, at least from everybody I hear. So, but we run like a theater group. So people just come and they do it. And if they dig it, they do it forever. And if they don't, that's fine too. We understand. Out of that 400 people, I bet you I'm still on pretty good terms with 300, 350 of them. So we did okay. They just can't be here anymore, for one reason or another.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
I mean, if you grew up doing high school plays or whatever,
Right.
You realize, well, you always lose people every year and you always get new people every year. And it just it takes the sting off of it if you've been in that situation so long.
Right.
I mean, you hate to see the good ones leave. But again, the best people are talented and smart, and they got other stuff they got to do in life.
Yeah, the best job I ever had was being a greenskeeper at a golf course, but it doesn't pay bills, so I had to move on. But that was the best job. You got up, you cut the grass, you did this. It was so
dance with the gophers a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep. I was raking bunkers, getting hit by golf balls. Man, I got hit by a golf ball once. I thought I was shot. I thought I got shot. I went right down into the bunker, and it hit my ribs so hard I had a bruise on my arm from the ricochet. Oh man, ever tell you that? No, shared it on air. Yeah, that was insane. But that was my favorite job because it wasn't the same thing every day. It was like the same thing every other 3 days. So like you got to rotate different stuff. I miss that job. But then you get married and then you got to buy your wife stuff. Just vacations. Now she's talking about Italy. Ugh. All right. So do you make major changes to the sets every season, or is it more of a gradual evolution or a change for the story?
It's a gradual change for the story. And usually over the past years, there's one scene that gets a major overhaul every year or two, or gets shifted around to a different location so it can have a different size. Like we used to have a huge library and a small little like a museum-y room with crypto spookology kind of stuff in it. And we were getting so much of the weird display items we didn't have room for, and we weren't really using the library space properly, so we just swapped them one year, stuff like that, and did a 3 or 4 scene swap of shifted everything so we could kind of rebuild it. Especially in this location, we didn't intend to be here necessarily, or be here as quick as we were. In our original location, we were there until 2011, and we moved to this city in 2012 on a 5-year plan of eventually maybe getting the place we're in now. But it was a 5-year plan because they were going to tear down all the brown zone. We're along the river, along the Monongahela River, tear down the brown zone, build an amphitheater, do all this art stuff, all that. And they knew I was looking to move, ex-wife, and through mutual friends, they go, oh, well, you already have a business up and running. You should just come here because you'll be an easy fit. You're already good. So we did. But then the political fortunes of the town changed, and they gave us a building to be in for a little while until something else happened. And the city then did not do any of this art stuff and wanted their building back. So we had been in our original place from 1993, except for 2 years until 2011. had to completely tear down, set up, and build all new for 2012, and then had to do it again for 2014.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a lot. Because you've seen some of the pictures of our sets, it was a lot.
Do you have a favorite storyline from the years? I know it's like picking your favorite kid, but
1999 was Carpe Noctem, and that was the year that we really got our feet under us really well as a pro haunt. We had been pro for a few years, and I mentioned 2 years where we moved from our original location. We moved and then moved back to our original location. So 99 was kind of like, well, I'd already been a dealer at Transworld for a couple of years selling costumes. Already got to know, I was actually, I don't think anybody remembers this, I was one of the original board of directors of the association.
oh, okay.
Nobody remembers that stuff anymore, right? But I had already, like, I met everybody, you know. I was getting to the point where I was going to start subcontracting jobs with Boneyard Productions, John Denley's company. So I was getting a real feel for how this could all really be. And so 99 was a year where we really go, yeah, I think we know what we're doing now. Yeah, okay, this will be okay, you know. So that was 1 year. 2 years we did a story that was back to back. It was the 13th curse, our 13th year. And the idea was powers much more evil than us were mad that we let mortals in. So it was, you know, the mortals actually had to help us remove this curse from the castle. And they did it by contacting one of the original fortune tellers from the castle. And the next year we actually did the Charms of Destiny, which were the results of everything the fortune teller and the gypsy did with them the year before. So that was the first time we really tried to make the story. I mean, interactive is one thing, but making it a 2-year story was kind of crazy, you know. So those were good years too. And then, you know, the COVID year, 2020, we actually opened because we don't do that many people, to be honest. You know, our annual season, 100 Acre Manor near us, if they did that on a bad Sunday night, they'd jump off a bridge. You know, so because of that, and because of the small groups, and because of the 5-minute timing between everybody, we were allowed to open in 2020. So we did a very kind of heartwarming, aren't we glad we're still all together kind of show.
Oh, that's cool.
For that, you know. So my wife designed beautiful retro t-shirts for that year that were very pumpkin-y and very autumnal, that just in a big, like a tattoo scroll across the top said, "We help save Halloween," you know, that kind of stuff, because she's quite the artist. So yeah, so those are a couple of the years that stand out.
Very cool. So how far do you plan ahead? Like, do you have next year's story all thought out? Or is that like, oh, it's Christmas, I might as well think about what we're doing next year?
Yeah, we're kind of screwed for 2026. I have some prop ideas, but I don't have the story in mind yet. As we're writing and finishing up these shows, we're actually pulling some of the things we thought we'd use out of these shows and putting them aside. So they may get done next year, stuff like that. Some years it comes so easy, and some years I don't have the name of the show until August. You know, right. It really, trust me, nobody in my family or my close friends is happy with me on those years. My wife is the game master, whereas my manager, Chris Hand, is kind of the magic director. My wife and I will be happy to brag on her, especially since she's right over there. She's Canadian. She was a Canadian Grand Master Dungeons and Dragons player 2 years in a row back in the day.
Oh, wow.
So when it comes to coming up with games and ideas that will be like, well, really cool for this and this and that, you know, that aren't really just escape roomy, because you're not by yourself, you know, but she's just a whiz. Of course, she would like a little more planning than a week or two before we open, you know.
That helps.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
On the other hand, I usually don't write her set. I tell her, hey, this is the trading token they're going to show up with, and hey, this is what they need to leave with. You just go ahead and figure out what the heck's going to happen in between.
You fill in between.
Yeah, my daughter's scenes are like that. Professor Scry, Chris Handa, his scenes are kind of like that. If you look at the script, it'll say Dawn does Dawn type things here, and the other ones are like pages for each room. And
Oh man, yeah.
I hope it lives up to it once you come see it now. Geez,
It will.
It will.
It will. Because it's going to bring me right back to my childhood and the boardwalk haunts and the theatrical and all that. Oh, can't wait. I'm a kid of the Jersey Shore, so like.
So you actually went to Brigantine and Dracula's Castle and all
She's
that?
been to Brigantine Castle. I'm too young for it. I've seen it, but I wasn't able to go in. But I spent summers in Castle Dracula.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I never made it to either one. I have some artifacts from both of them. I have flyers from Brigantine, like the little tourist brochure, 3 folds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What I want to do is I'm going to talk to Michael. It's Michael, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not Mike, Michael. And do like 3 posters here of Brigantine, Castle Dracula, and the Long Branch Mansion.
I have 2 things from the Long Branch Mansion. I have the pennant that says I survived, and I have the coloring book of the characters.
That's awesome.
I'd never been there.
Yeah, it burned down in 83, 84.
Early 80s.
Yeah.
But
it was no, you know what? I think it was later. I think it didn't burn down until after the Great Adventure Fire. So it burned down in 87 or 88.
Okay.
No.
And then the Brigantine Castle closed after the hurricane.
Right.
And then it burned down mid-90s, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe early 90s. And then I know the Wildwood Castle was 2004, I think.
Yeah.
I think that rings a bell, 2004. Hey, those are memories that are the reason why we're doing this. So,
oh, for sure. They all had impact on us.
Right.
So how do your fans and the local community influence what you create? Do you take any ideas from the locals or the fans that come through, or?
Well, we pay attention to what they like. But I can't. This sounds a little more pompous than I mean it to be. One of my big business model problems is I write the show that I want to see, and then I pray to God I find enough people to come see it too.
I do the same thing here, so we're good.
I mean, especially because none of us are getting rich at this at all. We do what we like to do.
Yep.
Right.
And then we try and find kindred spirits that'll keep coming all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's one guest reaction or story that's always stuck with you? You probably have millions, so.
I have 2. I have one that's sad and one that's funny. Which one do you want, or do you want both?
I want both.
Both.
Well, we'll start with sad then, because then we can finish funny. So one year we some of the first people that did the wildfire 3D lighting with the glasses and everything. We did that actually in '99, and we did it. We thought the way that stuff would look nice was doing a folk art kind of voodoo area with it. Because just think about the kind of rough folk art painting style and things like that. We thought it lent itself really nice to the 3D effect. So anyway, you'd go over this little bridge into that area, and we had everything painted like you should, and dry brush the props so they glowed, and a couple of pop outs so that would really mess with your 3D. And you get to the booth, and Madame La Zombie was there, and she does this whole, by crossing that bridge, there was a spell that came upon you, and you need to remove it. The only way you can remove the curse is by sending it to someone else. So this one group sent it to their friend who bailed on him and didn't come that night. We're going to do this to, I don't know, Fred, whatever. Okay, fine. So they do that, they fine. The next year they come back in the Madame La Zombie booth, because we're trying to change up the story, even though they're used to it. We had Madame La Zombie's costume on a skeleton. So she was dead at her table, and there was a little pop-up that would come up like through her as a scare. So instead of using it as a set last year, now it's just a scare scene this year. The problem was, and here's the sad part, I shouldn't be laughing, I'm an asshole. The sad part is that same group came back on a mission because the person they cursed had passed away the last year.
Oh.
And they got up to the booth, and Madame Lazombie ain't there. Madame Lazombie's dead too. And we used to be guided, so that was when it was a little rough on them and on our guide. That's when we got the story, because they sit and download it on their guide, and the guide had to try it because, you know, we're performers, so we all touchy-feely. So the guide had to kind of keep it together and figure out how to make this still be a successful tour for them.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
But that's kind of how the customers react to us. You know what I mean? They get that involved in what we do. A funny one. Let's go to the funny one really quick. This is when I was still performing, and I was in the library scene, and we're trying to contact some spirits. And this group comes in, and they have grandma with them. And there's a nice little magic effect of you build a little bell hanging from a stand on the table. But when you come in, all the parts are laid out in front of you, just in front of you. And I'll put a piece in, and then they can put a piece in. And, you know, it's we're all building this together. You can tell it's nothing hinky, nothing whatever. Okay, good. So when we're done, I just say, okay, I'm going to clap my hands. You clap your hands, and we'll see just once, and we'll see if any of the spirits are hearing us. And clap the hands, and that bell starts ringing right in front of Grandma's face. And she drops to the floor, stands back up. The only thing she said was, "Ah, hell no," and bolted out of the room. Bolted out of the room, right into the scare actor that was waiting for the group. So we'll end on a funny one that I think all haunters could relate to. That's kind of the nice part about us. When you concentrate so much on our skits, you kind of forget that there's still going to be all the spooky shit around the corner.
Right. And I fall for that all the time.
Yes, you do.
All the time.
10 years in of covering haunts, and 30, 40, 50 years of going through them, she still falls for it.
Yeah.
But that's why it's entertaining.
Yep.
Because I get so into the story,
I know.
and here's somebody here, and I'm like, what?
So, what's your long-term vision for Castle Blood?
Just try to get up every morning and keep going. You know, I mean, I'm not getting any younger. So we're trying, you know, my long-term vision is trying to make sure the place is in a situation where, you know, God forbid if something happened to me, it could keep going. I started because of the costume shop, because of everything else. I actually started haunting a little later in life than most people do.
Yeah.
So most people don't realize I'm going to be 66 in a couple of weeks, and people don't realize that. So, although in the last year, when everything's finished going solid white, they're kind of getting a clue now. So yeah, we just keep doing what we do. As long as we can pay the bills, as long as enough customers keep coming, we're going to keep doing it. You know, the family does it. I got grandkids that work in the haunt now.
That's awesome.
That's nice.
That's so awesome.
I got grandkids of customers that come as customers now.
I gotta bribe my kids to hold a damn light when I'm filming a commercial in the backyard.
No, they're all over it. My daughter is a social media person for a couple of businesses as their full-time job, and they are both just all about performing. I mean, they're 10 and 8, and they're just all over it. If you go to some of the TikToks, you'll see me and them to be sing and dance together.
I've seen them. I watch them.
I mean, I believe I have a haunted house. I got grandkids that are into Halloween. Why the heck wouldn't I be crazy and just sing Monster Mash with them and stuff like that? You know?
Right. Exactly.
If you're not doing that, why the hell are we doing this?
Right.
100%. So, a little advice for me. I lost the bet, so I have to scare act this year. Not excited about this. Any tips for me? My first time scare acting.
It depends on if you're a wall monster or in front of a monster. In front of a monster is, you know, when you get your scare, make sure you duck. If you're in front of them, the main thing is to get the scare and get out of the way. You know, like I was talking about, if Jason doesn't kill you, he's fake. You've got to make it seem natural that you get the scare and you get the hell out of the way. You know, don't spend too much time face-to-facing them. You know, we have a lot, especially the younger actors will nose to nose. It's like, it just gets boring after
Yeah.
30 seconds, So get your scare, get out. Especially if it's a group going by you, because if you get that, everybody says always scare the middle of the group. Try to be conscious of how many people are in your group, because a good scare actor can get 3 scares out of the same group, especially if they're like coming around a corner or something. If you get the first 2 people, they're so scared they back up into the group. The rest of the group has no idea what the hell happened, right? So as you finally, if you can disappear again, and they keep going, well, the rest of the group is still primed for you to get them again. So it's about your position. Can you do multiple scares? I mean, if you're a monster in a box, have they built the box so you can do multiple scares? A lot of times, especially when I was working with Denley with Boneyard, we would almost build squares here and there throughout the haunt and kind of wrap the walls, the hallways around it.
Right.
So one person could get multiple scares, and it wouldn't even be consecutive. You'd scare group number 1 or number 5, but then number 1 was already over here, but that's your second scare, things like that. And you can, I hope they build you a place like that if you're in the wall or in a box.
Yeah, we're not quite sure where we're putting me. I'm really close with this team that I lost the bet with. There is a place I do want to be in because, like you said earlier, I'm really just an asshole. So I think we need to work towards my strengths. And there's a room where there's a guy that pretty much just messes with the whole room. So I think I might go be a helper in that room and see how that plays.
There you go. Yep.
So we'll see. But I don't know where I'll end up, so that's good advice. Get the hell out of
it. My biggest advice always is swoop and ditch.
Yeah.
Swoop and ditch as many times as you can on the same group. Because
they
don't really expect you to come get them again.
Yeah, and the one Facebook comment I saw from the legendary Alan Hobbs, his wife Shannon, said that your haunt is her all-time favorite, and that's pretty impressive.
Sweet people, and they saw us when we were only 2 or 3 years into this new building. I wish they could come back. It's so much more now.
Okay.
No, they're awesome. We chat all the time.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's helped me out with props. He's helped me out with masks that we were looking for, stuff like that. And
I got lucky with a delayed flight out of Dallas. I was stuck in Dallas for 3 days.
Oh, I heard that story. I watched that one. Yeah.
And just speaking of scaring from different angles, there's one point in that haunt where you can hit 7 different spots. I was like, oh my God. And it's not the same scene. It's like the scene comes back. Right. Yeah, it was maddening walking through because I kept getting lost when I would step into there because I'm like, this isn't where I came from. How are you guys doing this? And then just seeing the whole monster camp at the Stilpe Studios, it was impressive.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've been sculpting masks or whatever, and so has my wife since the 80s and 90s, and we still want to come up with the money to go to monster camp. We just think it's going to be such a good time and, kind of force you, even if you already know how to make masks, it's going to force you to get off your butt and actually do something new.
Yeah.
Do something new, have him, because I don't think he's a rough teacher. I think he's a very caring, nice teacher. So have his viewpoint deal with what you're making and get a different viewpoint of your stuff,
Yeah.
I think that would be invaluable for people, even if they've already been doing things.
Right. Yeah, we're after I saw the behind the scenes, we're doing the terror tours in Pittsburgh, but we always head to another location for our vacation. So this year we're going to Dallas because I have to see Dark Hour live.
Yeah.
I have to. I don't know where we're going after Dallas, but Dallas is the trip this year. Little does Troy know he's doing terror tours too, but he'll get over it. All right. So, what do you want people to remember most about their time at Castle Blood?
To be honest, I want them just to remember the fun they had as a group. We get a lot of people that bring families, a lot of people that bring people from work. I mean, we do get couples because we are the odd haunt. Sometimes you can't get all your friends to, I don't want to go to that, or it's not scary, or,
Right.
Go to TikTok and look at our scare cam videos and then write me back that we're not scary. Okay. But But I think just the memory of, like, if not to equate ourselves with Disney, but the first time you go through the mansion, it's as much about the people you went with, and then you talk to them about what was your favorite part, what was your favorite thing, what was your whatever, you know. So if they have that kind of experience with us, that's really what, as storytellers, I think that's really what we're aiming for.
Gotcha. And you guys go for it.
It sounds way too touchy-feely to be horror and haunted, doesn't it?
No, it's because there's a love there, and that's important.
Right. You keep your group small when they go through. How many are in a group?
Tops is 8. We average 6. So
Okay.
6 people every 5 minutes. We can have a good night, and you may not even know there's other people in the castle with you.
Wow.
I mean, if the scares are working perfect, you're going to know because you're going to hear them everywhere.
Right.
You know? But you may not. The people you're in line with, you may not actually see them again until you hit the gift shop.
Gotcha.
That's really cool. I'm so excited. All right, so let's talk about the industry a little bit. You said you like to visit other haunts. Do you have any favorites you like to stop by?
Well, we don't get to travel in October way far out of our range here. We have 3 haunts that we work with a lot and co-promote and everything. One of them is Susie and Troy over at Crawford. They're good friends. They came to us when we used to do halfway to Halloween make and take times. They actually came and took some of our classes before they even opened. Demon House, which is sad that they're not on this tour. They're actually almost right across the river from us. And we always try to see them every year. Christian and his wife do a lovely, wonderful job over there. And actually, back in the early 90s when the owner was a kid, he was one of my scare actors.
That's awesome.
And then it may be campy, it may be corny, it may be old school, but Allen's Haunted Hayride attests to be one of, if not the oldest hayride in the country. They've been there since 1979.
Damn.
Wow.
And they're 20 minutes down the road from us. So we try to see those every year. And then we squeak in a couple other ones like the Haunted Hills Hayride, which is different than the one on Territours. It's a hayride. They have a walkthrough also. They do a great job. We try to hit 100 Acre Manor once in a while because, you know, you got to go see what the millionaire haunts are building and doing, right? We haven't been to Kennywood, our theme park. We haven't been to Kennywood for their haunts in a long time. Yeah, we don't get to go too far afield. We just don't have time, right?
Completely
Like
understand.
everybody. We have a
Right.
shorter season than most, so in September we get to go to do a bunch of stuff. You know, we'll stop working. You know, work weekends in September. You think we're all working and going crazy. We make everybody stop at 5 o'clock and get dressed and, you know, cleaned up and everything, and then we go out and have fun.
Yeah. Are there any bucket list haunts that you'd really like to see?
Yeah, I want to see Haunted Overload. I want to see Reaper's Revenge. I want to see Dark Hour, of course.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if I want to spend a weekend in Los Angeles going to every SoCal home haunt.
Yeah, I hear that's a tour.
Oh my God. I mean, there's like 100 of them on that list. There's no way you can see them all,
Yeah.
you know, but
Cough.
my wife just holding up the big sign says, Netherworld, Netherworld. Netherworld." Yeah, that is very true. That's got to be in with those other 3 as far as the top 4 on anybody's bucket list, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's on ours. We got to get south.
We were close 2 years ago. We were actually in Florida mid-September, and we were coming home 3 days before they opened. I know. It was
always
killing
like
us.
that.
It was killing us, yeah.
I travel the country for work, and you know that's Monday to Friday. But sometimes you get that Wednesday, Thursday late in the season.
Yeah.
But I forget what major haunt it was, but they opened the day I was leaving. I was so pissed because I'm there.
Yeah.
Like when we went to New Orleans, we left the day before.
Oh, because Rise only opened.
Yeah.
We did our last year's tour was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Where did we go last year, other than Territories? I don't remember. But we did New Orleans. So we hit 13th Gate, which is probably the most detailed haunt I've ever seen in my life. Um, New Orleans Nightmare and the Mortuary. Awesome tour, but Rise doesn't open except for Fridays and Saturdays, so we missed
Right.
one. Yeah, it stinks. So now we just have to go back, I guess, and go back to the 13th Gate 3 times and then head to Rise.
Yeah.
So you've seen the industry evolve over the years. What trends do you love, and which ones are you kind of done with?
That's going to get me in all kinds of trouble, right?
I'll join you. It's okay.
Stuff that I love is just people doing their own vision and trying to press the envelope as far as what their theme is and stuff, you know. Back in the 90s or early 2000s, I was sick of aliens, but that seems to have passed. And now if anybody was going to do some experiment thing or whatever like that, it'd probably be cool because there's so much more technology to do that now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen from our pictures, we are not the ripped, shredded, muddy, bloody costume haunt.
Yeah.
And because so many of us were performing real paying the bills clowns, those combination of those are not our favorite. There are some clowns I look at and design wise, I know they're beautiful. I know they're perfect. There's a couple things. Some girl that was at Eastern, very orange and black, as a horror clown. I don't know her. I didn't catch her name or even what haunt she's from. But I was looking at somebody's pictures from Eastern. I'm like, all right, if you got to do it, this is right on. This chick's perfect, you know. But not for me, because for me and my friends, it's bad for business. So we've never had clowns in the castle. We always figured if we needed to do that same thing, we could do it with a toy room and have wood soldiers and that kind of stuff, and it would do the exact same clown thing, you know. I've sold probably 200 or 300 T-shirts and even more than that bumper stickers that say Castle Blood because chainsaws are stupid. So it's a good-natured poke at all of our brothers and sisters. One year, all 5 chainsaws at 100 Acre Manor had the Castle Blood stickers on the blades.
I love it.
So we like to tongue-in-cheek play with all the other haunts too. So, you know, that's fun.
That's awesome.
You got to keep it friendly, of course, but that's fun.
Yeah.
They didn't tell me until afterwards, and they sent me pictures. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious.
And that's what I love about the industry is everyone loves the tongue in cheek and poking at each other, and you know, for the most part, everyone pretty much plays nice. I mean, you
overall, I mean, there's always problems because you know, not a lot of people are making a lot of money at this. So my phrase always is, when there's not a lot of money to be made, ego is the coin of the realm. So you know, when your ego's really, really wrapped up in it and all like that, feelings can get hurt easy, and you know, things can be taken out of context. You know, where all, you know, all kinds of haunts. Everything has its place. Everything has its audience. Not a big deal.
And that's another thing too. Is like I'll see some, you know, spatter on the internet about, well, we have the same scene. You don't have the same scene. It could be the same exact layout, but 2 different minds behind it. It's a whole different scene. Yep. Because, I mean, I'm kind of over clowns, but I go into Reaper's Revenge and Night of Terror in their 3D clown maze, and I'm in awe,
right?
Because it's beautiful. And
well, especially if you're us and you're kind of in the industry, you can take the tourist brain out a little bit and just concentrate on the designer art brain.
Yep.
And just appreciate. You know, that's one thing I always like to do, even when I was going to other circuses, whether it's a one-ring little mud show in the back of a mall parking lot, or it's Cirque du Soleil, or it's Ringling, or God knows what's in between. Watch the show they're doing.
Right.
Don't watch the show you wish they could do.
Yep.
Right.
You can have that conversation on the car ride home. That's great. But open yourself up to, what are they trying to do? What kind of haunt do they want to be? And how good are they at it?
All right.
Well, it doesn't matter what they're trying to do. Just watch what they are doing.
Yep. And that's what we do. Like, we go to big and small. If we had time for home haunts, we'd fill up with home haunts too. We hit one, and I don't even consider this a home haunt because it's basically, these guys are awesome. It's 2 dudes. It's Curly's Haunt, right?
Curly's Haunt.
It's in Wilmington, Delaware. It's in a cul-de-sac neighborhood And this dude does it through his garage into the backyard. There was shit in there I've never seen before. It was a 7-minute walkthrough for a home haunt. I was impressed.
That's nice.
And it's funny
It was
because
really good.
we went to Canada last year.
Oh, that's right.
So we drove from Canada to the start of Maryland to go to 301 Devil's Playground because I'll never miss a season there. I absolutely love this insanity place. But on the way back, we're already 10 hours in a car.
Right.
And did a haunt. So on the way back, I'm like, you know what? I don't care. We're going to Curly's. It's right there. It's just off the pike. And you were like, I'm like, no, we're going. What'd you say when we got out?
Holy shit.
Right.
But yeah, enjoy everyone's show. And you can.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like watching that. I don't know if you ever watched it on Amazon, the Epic Home Haunts documentary. So Tim Fowler, Greg Packard, all them guys, they just seem like, wow, they're just nothing but heart and skill, them people,
Yeah.
And they work together. I mean, one time 3 of those home haunts combined just to do another haunt for a year.
Yeah.
And actually merged their names together and everything, and it's like, man, I watched some of the Hollywood Haunter walkthrough videos and everything. I'm like, those people got their heads screwed on right,
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, I understand you're doing home haunts because with all those theme parks in your backyard, why would you ever try and do a pro haunt? That would seem like insane, between the codes and everything else out there, whatever. So everybody has the world's most beautiful home haunts. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's got to be rough out there. I'm surprised Lake Hickory Haunt. No, they're North Carolina. There's one by Orlando. Shit.
Oh,
That's
Sir
really
Roberts or something like that?
Yeah, Sir Henry's Haunted Trail.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they were able to take off being in the shadow of
Right.
HHN,
Right.
who just announced they're branching to Chicago without testing the Vegas first.
Right.
I would have saw how Vegas went first. I mean, it's a year-round experience in Vegas. People are there all year. Chicago, I don't know how many guys are getting there in January in Chicago.
It's got to be touristy. Touristy.
So
Like the
I
Salem
don't know.
once.
I don't know. We'll see with that one.
Put it down in town.
Yeah, but it's not like a year-round travel destination. Like Vegas is easy.
I only go there because of work.
Right. God, there was another question. You got any other questions?
No,
No.
I can't
You're just
wait.
going to make me sit here in silence.
I can't wait.
So I'm done with blackout mazes. I'm absolutely
yeah.
done with them. They irritate me. Just that's my
My
pet.
wife has a sixth sense of when we do blackout mazes or whatever. If it's a true maze that you could get lost in, she just waltzes right through them. That game master brain of hers, it's insane. Although I will I'm going to tell a story on her. One time. No? Just go ahead. One time we were going to a haunt that shall remain nameless, and it was a multi-haunt thing, but it had a huge traditional just black maze, right? She freaking Google Earthed that thing and took a picture of it before we ever got there because it wasn't covered. It had no camo on the top. And she's like, I know I can get through here faster than you. Like, bitch.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
My head's off.
Why do we play the game, honey? To win.
That's
win.
right.
To win.
But
That's
when we first started dating, like 100 years ago,
Yeah, it feels like it.
our closest haunt is Night of Terror. They've been open 30, 35 years. 35 this year, 30 this year.
Something like
Anniversary. I think it's 30. But they used to have a corn maze. And it was a legit maze. It wasn't an attraction. And you could be in there for 4 minutes or 5 hours. They didn't come get you. So you were stuck. It's basically how I think they broke up the line after the hayride.
Yeah.
Some people. So it's no longer there. But what I learned after years, because this is the first, pro commercial haunt I ever been to. So I noticed that you can see the street light. Like, I found the way. So we were able to get
right.
in and out of there by following that street light. Remember that?
Yep.
I was like, son of a bitch, that's the way out.
The ancient mariners would be happy with you, looking for a star or something.
And I just, because the corn they had was really tall,
Right.
and you're just kind of tired of walking around. You go to the chainsaw guy. I'm like, how the hell do I get out of here? And he doesn't help you because he finds it funny. So you're just wandering, and then I just got frustrated, looked up, and goes, "That's the light to the parking lot. Let's go this way."
Walk towards the light.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah, that was. Now it's a whole attraction that they just dump you into. What memories? So, out of the terror tours, do you have a favorite stop that I have to look most forward to other than Castle Blood?
I never been to Portals of Fear.
Okay.
I've only seen the pictures, and I'm as impressed as everybody else. But I think if you're looking for the two big haunts, have the wow factor, right? They're
Right.
just giants, so they have the wow factor. But if you're going to look for ingenuity and uniqueness and a theme and sticking to the theme come hell or high water, you're going to love Crawford.
I can't wait.
You're just going to love it. It's Crawford Schoolhouse, and it's a damn schoolhouse. You know what I mean? And things they've done with school type things to be cool. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I mean, we watched them when they first opened, and they've never stopped working on it. And this is their full-time gig. I mean, they have it's a big enough schoolhouse where they have a coffee shop in it that's open year-round every day, and an ice cream shop that's, I think, most of the time open.
Okay.
But then they have like 2.5 floors of this big old schoolhouse, and it's a schoolhouse. I mean, in the basement, it's either crypty or a little something other, whatever. But those 2 floors are there, and there's a story of a dead ghost kid from the school, and just all this stuff. And you'll find things in there related to her. I think her name is either Mary or Martha or something like that. Things related to her that they may not even point out, but if you're paying attention, you'll totally know.
Awesome.
Stuff like that. So it's not like you're playing a game like with us, but there's a story, a hardcore story to be told there. You know, they have a little bit of a blackout, which is fun enough. And they have some bungee people, believe it or not, and it actually makes sense in the school. That's the thing about them. Everything they're doing makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when the USS Nightmare came to Pittsburgh, and it was the old one, the first one, right? They sold it, made a new one in Cincinnati, and sent it to Pittsburgh. And I was so excited. I'm like, this is going to be great. This is good. I'm all about theme, right? And the first scene you walk in is a cemetery. By the way, the Crawford ghost is Margaret, not Martha.
Margaret. Okay.
I just got thank you. I got the note from off stage there. and it was, so it was like, what? You know, I mean, so I had to just totally know. It was a perfectly fine traditional haunt, you know, greatest hits. We got this, we got that, whatever. But it was this giant old paddle wheeler looking thing. And I just thought, oh my God, you know, what I would like to do theme out with that, you know?
Yeah, dead sailors everywhere. That's what I would do.
Right?
Because you don't see that anywhere either.
No, they had a slide in the middle of it. They had a witch's woods in the middle of it. Which it was all great. It was all great. But it wasn't what I was expecting. Again, I needed to pay attention to the show they were doing, not my aspirations for them. Yep. So I was just as guilty as everybody else. They had 5 Michael Myerses in the place, scattered. So you turn. So if you were susceptible to that, which one of the people in my group was, it was a bad night. You know?
Yeah, I get in trouble with that too. Like, I gotta enjoy their show and not like throw what I would do in there. I just need to shut the hell up and go through the haunt right there.
Yeah. Well, this was back in the 90s, so I was still new enough in it that I thought I fucking knew everything. You know, it's like, yeah, no, I didn't know nothing. I knew nothing.
I hear that. We got any other questions, Your Honor?
I do not.
Nothing?
No.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm sorry I was late to the party.
You're fine. We started early.
All right. Yeah, a long time. I hope everybody actually wants to listen this long or watch it this long.
They do. You'd be surprised. Like, on YouTube, you can follow like how long people watch, and the interviews are pretty good.
Good. Cool.
But I want to thank you for taking the time out of this Thursday night for sitting with us and talking Terror Tours and Castle Blood.
Yep.
And I'm super excited. I can't wait to see it.
Thanks. Can I do a little pimping before I leave?
Go for it.
Of course.
Yeah, just make sure you go to the TikTok is official Castle Blood. The Instagram and the website are the Castle Blood. We have a Patreon because we are the tiny little haunt that is always struggling. So that just started this week, actually. So you can go to Patreon/Castle Blood and find us there if you want to help out with anything like that. We have really cool, fun little perks to send you and everything. Otherwise, yeah, we're happy to do that. We're going to do more how-to videos since we're always building stuff. My daughter and the other young ones are like, you have to put your phone on when you're building stuff, you know. So I'm trying to get better at that kind of thing because I don't always plan when I'm building. I just go to work.
Yeah.
Right.
And let's do this, you know. So I'm going to refurbish a 1996 Mario Chodo big Frankenstein display piece that has been kind of rotting in our basement. So that's going to be a new step-by-step thing that we do. Can't find those anymore.
Yeah.
They were a big important piece in like 95 or so. So we still have ours, but it's in sorry shape. So please go find us all on social media and follow us, and we'd appreciate that a lot. And I hope you come to see us, everybody, on the Territories. I think as we're doing this, there's still a few seats left.
Yeah, we have about, I think, 12 seats left, so we're running out of space. So make sure you guys get your tickets.
Good. Yeah.
Just a bunch of haunt nuts doing haunt things for a price that you can't beat.
Right.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's going to be a good time. I look forward to meeting everybody from that tour in person.
Yeah,
I think maybe with Foggy's Frog, Tater will be coming again. He actually came when we did the legendary haunt tour with Transworld, so he's one person that's actually seen the castle.
Okay.
So out of all the big shot national people, other than Alan and Shannon. Well, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate taking up your time.
Pleasure is ours. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Sure you're
Anything
good?
else? Yeah. Anything else happening? Give me a buzz. Otherwise, I'm going to see you on October 3rd.
Yeah, I'll let you know when the video should come out next Monday. I'm trying to keep them in line with the Territories, do like a whole block.
Sure.
All right.
And you'll have a good time with Susie and Troy. You got to get them on too, right?
Oh yeah, they're we almost had it, but they had something going on. But I'm not. Hopefully next week. Hopefully.
Good. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So, how excited are you now for Castle Blood?
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm hyped. So hyped. Guys, why are you not buying these tickets?
I know.
That's our third interview of a third amazing haunt. Fourth.
Yeah. We did 4.
We did
4.
We did 4. Working on the 5th.
Yes. Almost done.
I'm local for 2 weeks, so hopefully we can get that worked out and done. And I have about 5 midweek videos to put out.
Oh, yeah. You were busy yesterday.
Yeah, we got to do our giveaway. But guys, for real, I not even lying. I'm on all the Castle Blood social medias. It's awesome watching this step by step and DIY and what this guy has turned into. What? Have you seen any of it?
I have not.
Okay.
I've been a little busy.
Yeah, you've been crazy with work. But yeah, guys, make sure you subscribe to all the Castle Blood stuff. Make sure you subscribe to us right here. I'm super excited.
Me too.
You got anything else for them?
Nope.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.